we're getting the federations to tell us how the plans they're implementing are affecting girls and women. And so not all of these plans are just specifically about girls and women, just about, generally what's going on in the chess scene and how this might.
Some special questions about education, for example, or competitive sport, or...
So the questions focused a lot on, so we asked a lot of questions about the national championships, especially the women's national championships, and the effects having a women's national championship, having it on at the same time as the Open National Championship. And questions were also focused on girls' chess in schools. However, most federations did not have a lot of data on what was going on in the schools.
Yeah, but some special best practices that you thought? Well, I think 44 countries, okay. I only need one with very best practices, and we can take advantage, all of us.
So the countries with the most women playing, well, with the highest percentage was Georgia, who have 26% of all their members being female. But that didn't seem to be based off any specific plans or projects they have in place, more the culture and history of the countries. So that seemed to be the biggest determinant of how many women were playing. The only effect that plans had, the best practices tended to be at encouraging junior levels, so encouraging girls to play by creating female-only training camps where girls could play together and train together. That had a really positive impact on the number of young girls playing.
Yes, but then we're talking about competitive sport, but there are many more girls from primary schools, school clubs. And then I think in the beginning, when they are 6 years old, in the Netherlands at least I see this, almost 50% is girl. When they are 12, it's maybe a few percent.
We did find that looking at the different age brackets, there was a huge drop-off as girls got older. We examined under 14s, and then 14 to 20-year-olds, 20 to 30-year-olds, and then over 30s. And it was very clear that as girls grew older, less were playing, but not only was there a huge drop-off, but there was a much bigger drop-off among girls than there was boys. So the percentage went down noticeably in nearly every single federation.
But yeah, maybe a role model, just that you research this, or a good playing woman, if it has a positive influence on participation of girls in school chess, or is it two different worlds?
So this was research. We looked at the correlation between the number of women in the top 100 chess players per federation, and then the general activity of women playing at junior level and just overall. And the correlation between the proportion of women playing overall and women in the top 100 was very low. I think it was around plus 0.3% was the correlation coefficient. So it doesn't seem to be having a major impact.
Any other aspects you think are interesting of this survey?
Yes, so another really interesting aspect was how federations were spending the money they allocated to women's chess. And I think very interestingly, I looked at all the surveys that responded to have no money dedicated to women's chess only. And I looked at the average number of women playing, average percentage of players who were female and number of women in the top 100, and they were actually very marginally higher than countries with funding for women's chess. So it seems like even the countries not putting money in, there is no noticeable difference in activity levels or women in elite chess, which shows that maybe the money that's currently going into women's chess is not being spent effectively.
Well, maybe there is a lot of variables at stake. As we speak about promotion of girl chess, but maybe in some situations, some things like role models will play a role, but maybe at the other situations, female teachers or whatever. So maybe if we make one big statistic, then maybe we don't see some special situations which could give best practices.
Definitely. It just shows that all the results come back, the situation is very complex and there are so many variables at play that each federation does have to be analysed individually to see how the individual policies they have in place are affecting just specific aspects. But that research is still ongoing because the survey is just far from being completed and that has not been finished yet.
Maybe you have the intention to promote women chess, girls chess?
So once the research will have been completed, there's a booklet that is in the process of being made with all the data out there so everyone will be able to access it and all the different plans and practices, federations and that are going on within countries. And so federations can look between each other to see what's going on and be able to adapt these practices themselves.